done it? Okay, lovely. So as part of your Developing Excellence in Leadership programme, we wanted to get some real world experience for you to enjoy alongside that theory and practice. And so this evening we are delighted to have Bodil Agasøster joining us, and she has lots of experience from industry. Her current role is product manager for data management at Sikt, and she'll be able to tell us lots about her journey and leadership lessons for you to enjoy. There will be opportunity later in the session for you to ask some questions as well. If you have questions in mind, you're more than welcome to put them in the chat as you're listening, and we'll come back to them in a little bit. So welcome, Bodil. It's really lovely to have you with us. And I wonder if you could start us off by telling us a little bit about your leadership journey.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here and to meet you. I started out with education, which ended up being quite international. I got a chance to go to Berlin as an Erasmus student from Norway. I live in Norway and yeah, I now work in, I'm born in Norway and I work in Norway. Thereafter, I got a chance to go to Scotland with a scholarship to do a PhD, also in politics. So my education is mainly in politics and international relations. After that, I got a job in Norwegian Central Administration in the Ministry of Culture. And that was mainly based on the fact that I had an international background rather than on my topics. Because they called me up when I was working on the last phase of the PhD and asked, are you a true applicant? Yeah, we need somebody with an international experience. Yeah, so I worked there. And then from that job, I had the chance to go to Brussels and work internationally. That was based on the content of the job, which I had been doing, which was on media policy in the Ministry of Culture. In Brussels, I moved to other roles, came back again to the European Commission, to the Erasmus Plus program. And that's basically how I got in touch with Scott and why I'm here now, this international experience in Brussels. And from Brussels, I wanted to have a job in Norway again. And then it was back to the subject matters of my degree, politics, etc. And I got the job in a Norwegian Center for Research Data, which is now Sikt, service provider for research and education in Norway, an agency, state agency. I think that's it. So it's partly been international experience, which has brought me on to the next role, and partly been the topic matter I was in.
Thank you very much. And I think having that international experience will really relate to our audience who are from that Erasmus background and are also travelling on their studies as well. So I'm sure there'll be some further questions. Could you tell us about some of the challenges that you have faced as a leader and how you have dealt with them?
I mean, working in the public sector is interesting, and I will come back to that when it comes to the aims. But when it comes to goals and things like that, but a challenge in the public sector is that aims are often very wide. There are many levels of aims, which can be complicating. Yeah. Also, we have been through a big merger. This is often challenging because, yeah, things change around people, new expectations, various cultures meeting each other, etc. And there can be issues of trust. People who had planned how they wanted to do things and what they wanted to do, and then everything changes. And then you come into a new organization where some people maybe sitting in another location have higher wages, etc. But how to deal with challenges. Yeah, also in my field, there is quite a few colleagues who are, so we deal with research data that researchers use for their publications. Many colleagues who have been working in the field since decades, they behave like researchers. They like to sit in their own office and to dig into the data, and they are very specialized, often give very, very excellent service to individual researchers, etc. So it's sometimes a challenge to make people focus on what's our aims and to focus on the wide service rather than on individuals, and give, sometimes people give too much attention to people they know, excellent researchers, etc. Other challenges and how we dealt with mergers, it's all about building confidence, and it's all about building trust, and to let people have impact on where we go, and to be able to relate to our aims, and talk with people, find out with the teams what they are gonna do in the next period to meet the aims, to let there be quite a bit of autonomy in how they want to address the aims with their portfolio.
And you mentioned, sorry. And you mentioned a challenge might be that those aims can be very wide. So is there anything else that you do to tackle that?
I mean, we have to find focus areas where we meet the aims really well, because we are a huge organization. We have people who deliver internet to universities. I am in the research division. We deliver data protection services, various types of research data, library services for open data and access to journals and stuff like that, and the big information systems, the quiz systems about, researchers and publications and all that sort of stuff. I mean, we don't have to meet everything from my side all the time, but we have to show what we do for some of the aims that really hit our portfolio of services really well, and agree with our director what we are doing this year and what we will push forward to next year. Need to focus.
Yeah.
It
reminds me of a lot of the stuff we talked about here about visionary leadership, aims and goals, which leads nicely into the next question of, can you tell us about some of your goals and motivations as a leader?
Yes. First, this is not so complicated, because working in the world of research and higher education, I mean, I have benefited from a lot of education myself, and I feel very much at home in this sector. I've chosen an area where I feel at home, and each day I feel motivated by the fact that we're trying to make the everyday life for researchers easier by giving them access to data that are ready for analysis. And we also feel that we contribute to a more informed society, as the research data we apply can be used for policymakers, administration, and can contribute to better lives of people through the policy they make based on research and data. And thirdly, we have to find a work and life balance, and to have a meaningful life at work. Work and life can be hard. We are stuck with the people we are, at least for a period. But it's important to make that day as enjoyable as possible whilst getting the job done. So I focus on the researcher, I focus on the society, and I focus on people around me, that we are supposed to have a good day. And then I'm also motivated. I'm motivated by working with people. I'm quite an extrovert person. I like as a project manager, I'm responsible for the strategic customer contact, which I find very rewarding, very interesting. I'm also motivated by, not so much by money in itself, but I would like to rise one more level in the organization where I am, and I hope that that will be possible. So I'm working on widening my scope and understanding the whole sector we're in, and meeting people who are part of the decision-making structures we have around us, and all that.
Thank you. And my final question before I open it up to everybody else is, what advice would you give to young aspiring leaders?
I think it's important to choose a type of work that you feel at home with, that meets your personal aims, and that you try to dig a bit deep and find out what makes you motivated, because you will have a more enjoyable life and a more enjoyable work life if you do that. And I think we perform better when we are in an environment that feels natural to us. It's also important to be a bit realistic. Working life, it's not like you work with your friends. You can become friends with some of your colleagues, but we are there with the people we are there with, and we have to focus on what we can change. We have to be flexible, and you don't need to be best friends with everybody. You just need to be able to relate to them and to get the work done together. Be a bit realistic about that, and pick your battles. Pick your battles. Focus on what you can change, and also be happy with what you manage to accomplish. I have a huge product area. It's always lots of work that isn't done, that's being postponed to next week, to next month, to next year. But we have to be good at delegating and focusing and being happy underway with what we manage to do. I think that's to not punish yourself for what's not being done, but rather to be grateful for having the opportunities you have and for the job you actually managed to do and get done. Try to have a good life on top of work, so that work is not the meaning of life. But yeah.
I particularly love that. I think it's really nice that what you shared there about meaning and happiness, and I guess well-being underpins being effective.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'll start opening up questions to the group. I've seen a couple of things in the chat. Perhaps, Onoya, would you like to ask your question first? If people want to write them, I can ask them, but I will preferably invite you to ask so that it comes from your mouth instead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gemma. I would like to thank Bodil for joining us. And my question, I just want to know if at some point she faced some conflict at the workplace. If yes, how did you manage them? Conflict at the workplace. I submit. Thank
you. Sorry, I didn't quite get it.
Yeah, so, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was saying, was there a time when you faced some conflict at the workplace?
Yes.
Yeah. If yes, how did you handle conflict at the workplace?
Okay, I haven't been in very much open conflict, but there is quite a bit of passive resistance to change. And as a leader, I have to implement the change. For instance, new aims, new ways of working, since our organization the organization I was in, the research data center, became part of the agency for services, much bigger organization of 500 people. We have to together with the teams that the people causing problems are in, have to, with the teams, agree to the ways they can meet the aims, make work plans, and then meet regularly for tights. In the process of tight, loose, tight, you have to meet them and see with them where are they going. So that's the main type of conflict I have. It's when people feel estranged to the aims and they want to do their own stuff rather than following direction. But I do that by regular meetings, challenging them to make the work plans and then to following up about how it's going. I'm sure there are other types of conflicts I can think of too, but I have been fortunate not to have too much personal conflict. It's rather in what the work should be like and how it should be solved and about the aims of the work. Some people want to spend more time helping individuals, whilst our job, it's more to give the bulk to more people, support more people. So I have to sometimes be a bit ruthless and say that we have to focus on giving a good service to everybody, Yeah, for example.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Atef, would you like to go next?
Yes, hello. Hello, Bodil. I would like to thank you for joining us today and for your beneficial information. I would like to ask some strange question. Did you ever use the politics in leadership or have to use it? It's like, in round tables, it's like we are just arguing or just discussing something with like top management for the benefit of our employees or even our company. So do we have to learn politics to be a good leaders?
You ask about using empathetic.
No, I mean politics.
Politics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm trying to think here. Our system around us is political. Yes, I sometimes have to try and make and support people in understanding a bit more the politics that is around the sector. For instance, there is less money in the sector now than before, like everywhere else. The universities have to cut down. Universities are our customers. In my area, I have quite a lot of budget from the state budget, but I also have a bit of customers from universities, etc. And when presenting to our board, which is a big board of leaders from the universities, it's important that we do not talk about what motivates us and, because we have really good jobs. We have to be understanding about the situation for the customers. What is the times like for them? What's happening around them? And I have to make sure that the teams understand this and that they cannot talk about, oh no, I haven't been so motivated lately and this and that has been really tough for us here and we have been, we have less cash than before to do what we want. They cannot talk like that. You have to start from the picture of the customer and the users, the researchers, the universities. What do you want and how can we adapt to your situation? I don't know if I answered what you wanted, but.
Yeah, you answered it. And I would like also to add something. Do you recommend something that we could learn these practices from, or we just learning this by practicing leadership in our workplace or student activities or this?
I think there's plenty of good opportunities to learn from other people. One thing I can recommend, because I'm sure you read a lot already. Watch some of the good TED Talks. that is very motivational for people who wants to be leaders. There's so much knowledge out there, so much is based on research and experiences of brilliant leaders. So I would watch TED Talks, which is, 20 minutes and really motivating, and they are very topical. So on motivation, on this, on that. And then you get a bit of change in your day if you watch a bit of that. But yes, and I think also talk to people that you know, or people you meet who are leaders, and yeah. But the main experience is from practicing, but you can learn a lot from other people who have experienced things. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll bring in Amadou next. Do you want to read your question from the chat?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Bodil. Yeah, my question is about the networking. Either social or professional network, did they affect positively or negatively your leadership activities? Yeah, that's the first part of the question. So sometimes you need to build some network professionally or socially. Yeah, but as a leadership, as a leader in your daily or leadership activities, does this networking affect has impacts on your activities?
Yes, I think it does. When networking, it gives you skills of, particularly in my experience, of listening and understanding how people think, how people act, needs, etc. And I think that's one of the most undervalued leadership skills. It is really to listen. Because if you show understanding of your employees, your colleagues' situation, they will be much more happy to adapt and to find a way together if you listen. So for me, networking has expanded my skills to listen and to learn from that. It has also given me opportunities to, for instance, when there is an opportunity coming up, to check with people who can inform you a bit about the context, the sector. That has happened to me several times, that I've called up people I know. Yes.
Yeah, you also as a leader, what's best practices to build and maintain this kind of networking, this kind of useful networking?
Of course, it's important to be part of professional networks that you have. And in your case, it's also networks from studies. And to be active in your field and in the community where you are in general. And I particularly believe in meeting people in the community where you are that comes from other fields in work. It's great to work in teams where people have different backgrounds. And it's the same with network. It shouldn't only be from the professional field you come from yourself, but from other sectors around you, because there might be very good opportunities for you professionally, or to do other good things with your life outside of work, where you get the ideas from people who do very different things from what you do yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go. Please go, continue.
Sorry?
Yeah, sorry to disturb you. Please continue. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And it depends. I mean, many people I know, they have very wide networks that I use also professionally from the family situation. For instance, from having children in the same school, they meet people who do completely different things, and they interact with also as professional people because they know them from their families. There are so many ways of recruiting. Now also you have LinkedIn online, which is a good professional online network. You have, so social media can help too, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I think we might have time for maybe one more, possibly two if it's quick. I've seen one from Onoya, but I'm wondering if anybody who's not asked yet wanted to. Yeah, Gemma, who would you like to ask yours? Or I can read it from the chat if you don't want to speak. So Gemma, who asks, what mechanisms do you use to overcome any conflicts of interest in the workplace?
The thing is, I'm not the personnel leader. I'm a leader of deliveries of the products, the services that we deliver. There are sometimes personnel conflicts, but that the ones I meet have more to do with how we solve the job. And I have many meetings about how we are organized and how the teams can be as autonomous as they would like to be. And I try to get better myself at doing the right tights, at setting the aims, and then letting the teams and talking with the teams about that, letting them find a way to solve the tasks, the jobs to be done, and then to meet them at the right point before things are published or sent over or shared with the customer, etc. But it's all about finding a way that's where the main conflict sort of I meet is really about how we solve the job, and whether it's my business, this or that, or whether it's something the team should solve internally. We normally find a way, but we are in the IT sector and we are also in the public sector, and there is a little bit of conflicts there in a way to find the right way, because we need these tight points to make sure that we're in line with what is expected from us, particularly since my area, we have quite a bit of public funding. We have to make sure we use the taxpayers' money in the way the ministry wants us to do it, and not just, no, we think maybe we need to try to be to the point, whilst leaving professional people to find a way to shape things and to put their mark on it.
I think we'll try and squeeze in one final one. Malenga, would you like to unmute and ask yours?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Bodil. How are you? I just wanted to find out how you motivate your team as a leader to work hard so that the performance of the work performance is maintained. Thank you.
Thanks. I talk with them and try that we do some things together that are a bit sort of on the outside of work. We do a little bit of social stuff and things. And I try to show engagement in their lives, how they are doing at work, etc. And to share my motivation, etc. And try to listen to them and try to engage with who people are when I talk with people, and so that I find ways of them sort of buying into take ownership in what we work with. But we are in a sector where it's not so difficult to do this, because it's really about knowledge, and it is quite rewarding. And I find really that most of the people I work with are motivated by this knowledge sector and contributing to knowledge and to sharing it. But sometimes I find that there is a bit too much bickery and too much focus on their own situation, their own rewards, etc. So I try to appeal to the group level, you know, how we deliver together, everybody contributing from their point of view, delivering together as teams, you know.
Thank you very much. And so we'll draw things to a close there. Thank you so much, Bodil, for taking the time to be with us and for sharing some of your experiences from industry and from the public sector. I think the thing that I took particular note of is that even though you're working in data and IT, which often feels like it's about information and processes. A lot of what you shared is about looking after people, helping them to find meaning. You talked about the importance of listening skills and letting people have autonomy over those aims and goals so that they are engaged and motivated. And I think that really resonates with the kind of things that we've been talking about on the programme. And I also love the reminder that TED Talks are an amazing resource, something I forget to watch, but actually over a lunchtime, that might be a really good use of my time. So I've really enjoyed having you here. I'm sure the group has too. And we're really grateful that you could join us. So we'll stop the recording there.